What if the smallest nations of today become the superpowers of tomorrow? What if the city you see as clean, calm, and perfectly organized is quietly preparing to rewrite the rules of the world? Singapore is often called a tiny dot on the map, a stopover, a financial hub, a perfect postcard. But beneath its glass towers and neon skyline, something far more powerful is forming. By 2035, this island nation may not just surprise you, it may shock the entire world. From artificial intelligence to global finance, from military technology to digital governance, Singapore is building a future that most countries are not even imagining yet. While others argue, delay, and decay, this city-state is moving in silence, planning decades ahead. Welcome to Geo Chronicles, where we explore the hidden forces shaping tomorrow's world. Tonight, we journey into Singapore's future, not the tourist version, not the brochure fantasy, but the version that could redefine power, influence, and survival in the 21st century. Because by 2035, Singapore won't just be a city, it may become a blueprint for the future of civilization. Point 1. The rise of a digital empire. While most nations struggle to modernize, Singapore is quietly building what could become the world's first fully digital civilization. By 2035, this city-state may operate on systems so advanced that traditional governments will look outdated. Every aspect of life in Singapore is being redesigned: healthcare, transport, education, law, and even citizenship through artificial intelligence and data-driven governance. Smart sensors already monitor traffic, energy use, and security in real time, but this is only the beginning. Singapore's vision is radical, a nation that thinks. AI will soon predict disease outbreaks before hospitals fill. Algorithms will manage city infrastructure with near-perfect efficiency. Digital identity systems will allow citizens to vote, travel, and access services instantly. No lines, no delays, no chaos. In a world where governments move slowly, Singapore moves like software, fast, adaptive, and precise. By 2035, this could give Singapore something more powerful than oil, land, or armies: total systemic efficiency. Other countries will still be arguing about reforms. Singapore will already be living in the future. And here's the terrifying part. Once it works, others will try to copy it. But they may not be able to. Because Singapore's transformation is not just technological, it is cultural. Its people are trained for change. Its leaders plan decades ahead. Its systems are built to evolve. The result? A nation that runs like a machine, a society optimized for speed, a digital empire in human form. The world won't fear Singapore for its size. It will fear it for its precision. Point 2. The hidden power of global control. Singapore has no vast lands, no oil fields, no massive population. Yet it already controls something far more valuable: the arteries of global trade. More than 20% of the world's shipping passes through Southeast Asia, and Singapore sits at its heart. By 2035, this small nation could become the central nervous system of global commerce. Its ports are transforming into fully automated mega-hubs. AI-managed cranes, robotic warehouses, and real-time logistics networks will move goods faster than anywhere else on Earth. Ships will dock, unload, and depart with almost no human delay. In a world where speed defines power, Singapore will control time itself. As global supply chains become more fragile due to wars, climate disasters, and political instability, companies and governments will search for one thing: certainty. Singapore offers that. It is neutral, stable, predictable, and surgically efficient. By 2035, major corporations may treat Singapore not as a location, but as a core system. Financial data, shipping routes, digital trade, and global contracts could flow through its servers and ports. The world's goods will pass through its hands. The world's money will pass through its systems. The world's decisions will pass through its networks. Without borders expanding, Singapore will extend its influence across oceans. Not with tanks, not with threats, but with infrastructure the world cannot live without. And when a nation becomes indispensable, it becomes untouchable. Point 3. A fortress in disguise. To the outside world, Singapore looks peaceful. Clean streets, calm people, order everywhere. But behind that calm is one of the most strategically prepared nations on Earth. By 2035, Singapore may become a fortress in disguise, a country so technologically defended that no enemy can touch it. Despite its size, Singapore already has one of the most advanced militaries in Asia, but the future it is building goes far beyond soldiers and tanks. The next battlefield is invisible. Cyber warfare, satellite control, AI-driven defense systems, autonomous drones, digital surveillance. Singapore is investing heavily in all of them. Imagine a nation that can detect threats before they exist, a city where every digital signal is monitored, a defense network that reacts in milliseconds, not minutes. By 2035, Singapore may not need large armies because its enemies will never reach it. In a world where conflicts are shifting from land to data, from borders to networks, Singapore's greatest weapon will be information dominance. While larger nations struggle to protect millions of vulnerable points, Singapore protects one perfectly designed system. It is small, but it is sealed. In the chaos of the future, when cyber attacks cripple cities, when satellites fall, when digital wars replace bombs, Singapore may stand untouched. Not because it is invisible, but because it is unbreakable. And when the world realizes that this tiny nation is safer than entire continents, power will begin to shift. Point 4. Engineering the perfect society. Most countries react to problems. Singapore designs around them. By 2035, this nation could become the most socially engineered society in human history. Education is already tailored for the future. Coding, robotics, data science, global strategy. Children are trained not just to memorize, but to adapt, to think in systems, to evolve. Housing is planned decades ahead. Healthcare is predictive. Urban life is optimized. Every citizen becomes part of a long-term national blueprint. While other societies collapse under inequality, crime, and political chaos, Singapore runs like a calibrated machine. Policies are tested, data is analyzed, outcomes are measured. Emotion gives way to efficiency. This is where the future becomes unsettling. Because Singapore is not just building a smart city, it is building a controlled civilization. By 2035, life there may feel flawless, safe, orderly, stable, but also observed, measured, directed. A place where freedom is traded for perfection, where chaos is eliminated, where society runs without friction. To some, it will look like heaven. To others, it will feel like a beautiful cage. And yet, as the rest of the world burns with instability, millions will ask, why can't we live like that? Singapore may not conquer nations, but it may redefine what a nation should be. And that idea is more powerful than any army. Point 5. The world's silent command center. By 2035, power will no longer belong to the loudest nation, but to the one that connects everything. And that nation may be Singapore. As the world fragments, politically, economically, culturally, global systems will need a neutral brain, a place that nations trust, a node that never collapses. Singapore is positioning itself to become that node. It is already a hub for finance, arbitration, data centers, diplomacy, and international law. But the future expands this role far beyond geography. Digital trade agreements, cross-border AI governance, global data routing, climate coordination, maritime law, cybersecurity standards. By 2035, Singapore may sit quietly behind the scenes of global decision-making, not leading with speeches, not threatening with weapons, but hosting the systems the world runs on. When conflicts erupt, talks will happen there. When digital rules are written, they will pass through its institutions. When corporations and nations clash, Singapore will arbitrate. When global systems need a safe core, they will anchor here. It will not look like domination. It will look like reliability. And that is the most dangerous form of power. Because the world will begin to depend on Singapore for stability, for neutrality, for order. And once the world depends on you, you no longer need to rule it. It will follow you. So when you look at Singapore today, you see a city. But by 2035, you may be looking at the future of civilization itself. A place where chaos is engineered out of society, where technology becomes governance, where a nation runs like a living machine. Some will call it progress, some will call it control. Some will fear it, others will beg to copy it. Because in a world drowning in disorder, the most powerful force is not violence. It is stability. And Singapore is becoming the most stable system on Earth. The question is no longer whether it will shock the world. The real question is, when the future arrives, will the world be ready for a nation that already lives in it? This is Geo Chronicles, where tomorrow is revealed before it arrives.